Greetings and welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. I observe that there are people who are not from the Caribbean, or folks who recently moved to the Caribbean, who are neither indigenous nor of African descent, the folks who were impacted the most from past events, and people who are still trying to recover. Every country you go to, there are many of them that are in the ghettos and are still trying to get their foot under them. However, there are a lot of folks who move into the Caribbean, mainly from the same nations that colonized their ancestors. There are a lot of the descendants of those folks who move into these Caribbean countries and do very well. They create lavish businesses. They buy out acres upon acres of land, and they work together to flourish. And one such case is what I'm about to talk about here. Recently, the Indigo Hotel, or Hotel Indigo, celebrated a contract that they had with SKN, St. Kitts, to start a new hotel in St. Kitts in Friars Bay. So there's this social media website. It's called SOB, and that's where I found it initially. And SOB stands for Save Our Beaches in St. Kitts and Nevis. What I realized is that a lot of these people who are not locals create social media platforms with the names of the country that they have an interest in. These platforms tend to attract a lot of local people as well as people from their countries as well, their friends and relatives from their original country. And they are able to play on the kindness of the local people a whole lot. And they use a lot of the local things to get in. So for this particular website, they use one of the national heroes, a gentleman by the name of Bradshaw. And they use a speech by Bradshaw that says, "All beaches are public beaches for the use of all our people, except, when maybe an upscale hotel wants to put up some walls and force our people to swim, traipse through its fancy lobby, or use some narrow, unmarked path." Now, to understand this speech by Robert Bradshaw, Bradshaw passed away in 1978. So he saw the issues from back then. But the issues only got worse. So even though we are using this speech here, and a lot of local people like the sound of it, what have we done to stop it? What have our government done to stop this thing? So the local people in every Caribbean island, and I say every Caribbean island because many of us have a tendency to not want to involve ourselves with the other islands. But we have to realize that that is where we get ourselves in trouble. We need to be in each other's business when it comes to things like this, because that is how it was in the past, and that is how we were able to accomplish so many things. Our ancestors were, because they were united. So we cannot allow government to prevent us from wanting to look beyond national borders. We can't allow government to prevent us from wanting to be a people anymore. I realize it's been happening because remember, your government is hooked by the nose. Like a pig back in the days when you had a pig that have a tendency of digging up the ground too much. I remember my grandfather would put a wire in the pig nose and it would control the pig. So our government, remember now that when we gain independence, many of the nations, all of them actually, once you gain independence, the king continued to reign over them, and they pick their governor general who will choose the prime minister. And they continue to control you, have a lot of power, decision-making authority over the direction future of the nation. Now, I don't know the lady who's in charge of this website, but what I realized is that the site, this lady is the moderator. She's the moderator, and I'm not picking on her in any sense, but she's the moderator, and she has two admins who happen to be Europeans, as well. Just an acknowledgement. And the post that drew my attention was this one right here: Hotel Indigo to be constructed in St. Kitts and Nevis after 10-year delay. And they have politicians. They have a former Prime Minister, Douglas, and you have the current Prime Minister standing next to the lady. Douglas is on the far right. He was a former Prime Minister of the Labour Party. And then the other gentleman in the black suit next to the lady is Drew, Terence Drew. He's the current Prime Minister. He's also Labour Party. Right? And they have shovels in their hand. I saw this same thing play out in the US Virgin Islands, where they got politicians to hold shovels in their hand and take pictures for a front page. And that is why I say we have to look at each island, because the thing that is happening here most likely has already happened in another island, which I just pointed out. And it probably happened before that, over and over. So they use the same strategies, and that is why they are so effective, because they've been using these strategies for generations. They get the leader of the local people to post in these pictures, and by doing so, they're able to, really keep the community calm as they continue to take up more and more of the land. But another thing I got to point out with these sites is that they also have a tendency of showing concern for the environment, the beaches, like the website name, Save Our Beaches, etc. More so than the people. More so than the people. They care about the beaches so much, the environment so much. But the people have to realize that no one is going to help us. We know what we've been through. We can look at where everyone else is. We can see how the Asians, the Chinese are able to come to your country and they work together and they get to the top. The Chinese don't move to the ghetto and struggle. They come and open business. The Middle Easterners come and open business. They work together. They have their unity, but they also benefit from saying they are locals as well, whether it's Grenadians, whether it's Kittitians, whether it's Jamaicans. Not only do they get to partake in that unity, they also have their individual groups that they are cool with. But then people get offended when we say we are Africans and we try to rebuild that cohesiveness, or we try to find what was taken or lost. You see, and we should not allow people to do that to us. And many times it's our own people, because they benefit from some relationships that they have with other people as well. Right? Some of them get children and so forth. So they feel a kind of way when they see other people of African descent enjoying each other's company, actually loving themselves and embracing themselves. So they try to disrupt that, become misery-like company, and we should not allow that to happen. We should not allow that to happen. There's no reason why everyone amongst us who are successful is successful because of a European, an Asian, a Middle Easterner. None of us hardly are successful because of our own people, but all of their people are successful without us. We do not have the ability to turn anything off without some type of unity. We have to realize that that is where our strength lies. that we are locally placed, that we are locals. We are also abroad. But if we are unified, that's where the power comes. And we should not put a trust in government, because you see how much the government owes the World Bank and so forth. You see how much the Caribbean owes. You see what happened. You saw what happened when the COVID epidemic popped off. The government cranked down on you. They can turn it up. They can put you on lockdown just like that. They can get what they want from you. It is hard for you to get any protection there. And many of us support that idea of not having some type of weapon to protect ourselves from criminals, whether it is civilian or government. So we are easy targets. We are sitting ducks to our government and other people. And we should not be. That is one thing I must say I admire about the US, where the civilians are able to have protection in some of the states. And people don't realize how important that is. Bottom line up front is that these folks promote taking care of the environment, but them and their foreign friends come in and build, cut through the mountains and so forth. The hotel that they're building, the contractor of the hotel, not only is the hotel originated in the UK, the branch that it extends from, but the business, the organization that are doing the building are also out of the UK. So you see how they take care of each other. So the hotel is owned by Europeans. The contract is being done by Europeans. So in every angle, they have it circled. They have it internal, where all the money and the benefits are going to be there. And local people, just so happen you can go there and sign up for a job, right? And maybe if they like one of you enough, if you conform enough, then they may allow you the ability to move up in rank somewhere. But it's going to be controlled. And I don't understand for the life of me why so many of us simply sit back and allow that, especially for the man of the community. We are supposed to be creating, and the ladies help to add the smoothness to it. That's how a lot of it still work. But we sit back as men who's supposed to be leaders of the community, and we have other men come in and take over from our youths. And then we send our boys and girls, our wife, to go work for them. Versus saying, hey, they are doing it, why can't we do it? Why is it that the nicest places on our island are owned by people who are not from us? And then a few of us may get some money and move there and live in the community that they live in. So we have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And hopefully we can get there.